What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 87 of The Shift. Yes, Earnshaw has decided to take a little vacation. He's down south in Florida. Once again, the big deal here, we have a guest on today. And once again, Earnshaw is dodging our guest. This is our, to this point, he's been a recurring guest. He's been our best guest at this point. No shot at former major league, player Kevin Stocker. We love Stock. No shot at the great uh, Yankees radio Spanish broadcaster Ricky Ricardo, who I work with often. Great people, but this is our best guest, and unfortunately, Earnshaw has been dodging, or it hasn't been. He has dodged and is dodging once again. Our next guest, that is one. He is MLB Daily Dingers own, and unfortunately, Mets expert and Major League Baseball expert, of course. Matt Musico, welcome to the stage, Matt. What's going on?
I'm good, man. Thanks for buttering me up there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but so biggest question though is, what are your thoughts on Nick once again dodging an interview with you?
Well, I think I've been on here once with both of you guys, so he
Yes.
hasn't dodged once. But it's just quite the coincidence. I
Well-
don't blame him. Getting some sunshine, being on the beach. I'm a little jealous. So just wish he would have brought us both with him.
Yeah, he doesn't. Well, we're again, like I told you backstage, we are going to Fenway, but don't give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, look, what 1 for 3, 1 for 3 would give him the batting average thing.
This is baseball. That's good.
It's true. It's fine. Yeah, whatever. But I hope Nick. All seriousness, hope Nick's having a good time down there in Florida. But first off, because you're my outside of just being someone who comes on the show, you're an actual friend to me. So who I've been to City Field with, watching the Phils play baseball. Still waiting for you to come to CBP. I think you're dodging that. I mean, there's a lot of dodging going on.
But, yeah, I think I am dodging that a little bit. Hey, I love the bank. The bank is a lot of fun to watch a ball game. I've been there quite a few times.
Yeah. But okay. Outside of that, how's everything been going lately with you?
Things have been good, man. Can't complain. It's always nice when it's baseball season. Something to do every night, which I enjoy. So
yeah. And there's a lot of things I want to touch on with you today, and of course, unfortunately, like I said, you are a Mets fan, but you're an expert, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. But in all seriousness, I want to start with where the Mets are right now. They're second in the National League East, but they've been playing really good ball just overall this year. They've been playing pretty good ball. Their rotation, their bullpen has been two of the best in baseball. Pete Alonso, who we're going to have to get to in this segment because I need to know what you think about him at the potential of, having the club option at the end of this year. He's been playing unbelievable so far this year. What are your thoughts overall to start here on the Mets to this point in the season?
Well, I think for a lot of people, this is kind of what we were hoping to see from them. Obviously, from when we think about last year, from the beginning of June to the end of the year, they were one of the hottest teams in baseball, specifically looking at the regular season as well, too. And they kind of started out hot like that, too, as well. So, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, without Manaea, without Montes, the pitching staff has been terrific overall. So that's been I think probably the biggest surprise for people on the outside, just looking at the Mets from the surface level, seeing that they're missing a couple of their starters from the very beginning of the year. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch them play baseball. I feel like Carlos Mendoza has them playing usually on most nights a very really good brand of baseball. Some really sharp defense on most nights, good pitching, timely hitting. It's been a lot of fun so far. They're putting themselves. They've had a little bit of a skid over the past 2 weeks or so, comparatively speaking, to the beginning of the year. But they're right where we would hope that they would be at this point. Contending for the top of the division, in playoff contention. It still feels like it's early in the year, but Monday is Memorial Day. That's like the first big marker for the regular season to kind of see and be able to gauge how teams are performing as we head into summer.
Yeah, and so biggest part of their success, Matt, so far has been, at least from what I've seen, it's been their rotation. I mean, you're getting, Clay Holmes has been, who's a question mark coming into this year because he's, coming from being a closer with the Yankees to be converted to a starter this year, but he's been good as you probably could ask for, right? As a Mets fan to this point. Senga coming back from the injury is unbelievable, leading the National League in ERA. And then guys like David Peterson, who coming off of last year, in his 20-plus starts, he's been really good. Griffin Canning, though, also, I'm still waiting for this to stop. But in all seriousness, what about the rotation? I mean, have they exceeded your expectations? I would think so, but just talk about how good this rotation has been. It's been really unbelievable.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. They've exceeded expectations so far. I mean, especially after you take out the injuries to people who you were expecting to be in the opening day rotation, like each of these guys had some kind of question attached to them heading into the season. Senga, obviously, essentially missing all of last year. I mean, Peterson had a good year last year, but he's still on the younger side. It was like the first good year he had. You want to see him build upon that. McGill has been up and down with regard to consistency. Griffin Canning speaks for itself. I mean, he was like on the outside looking in. He only got into the opening day rotation because of the injuries as it is. And then you say Clay Holmes. I mean, he converted into a starter. There were, I don't want to say significant questions for each one of them, but meaningful questions that you're like, all right, I just said before, like the outsiders looking at this rotation without seeing how they've performed maybe like throughout spring training, like this is like probably going to be the biggest weakness. And then you look at their offense, like that's probably going to be the greatest strength, but it's kind of been backwards for probably what a lot of people are thinking. So it's been great to see. I mean, it'll be even better. It'd be a good problem to have once we have people coming back off the injured list at some point soon, hopefully. But yeah, they've absolutely exceeded expectations, and also the bullpen too. I feel like with the Mets, it's very, bullpens are volatile no matter what. It feels like it is, especially for the Mets from a year-to-year basis, but David Stearns has been pretty good at building bullpens throughout his tenure as an executive too, and being able to find some diamonds in the rough, essentially, to be able to bridge the gap from the starter to Diaz in the ninth inning. So done a really good job of just building an entire pitching staff, which, if I'm remembering correctly, they probably had to mostly rebuild their pitching staff from the rotation and the bullpen compared to last year. They had a lot of guys coming off the books, and they brought Manaea back, but I mean that was pretty much it from the rotation when it comes to top performers. I mean, they had McGill and Peterson, but they're probably more like thinking of them as like back of the rotation, maybe more like depth, before the injuries came into play.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about the bullpen there. I'm curious, who do you trust more to? Because both have been two of the best, as far as just looking at ERA, both have been in the top 5, the rotation being number 1, earned run average to this point for the bullpen, number 3. Who do you trust more to maintain that level of consistency throughout the rest of the season?
I would say probably the rotation. Thinking about last year and the things that the Mets have done to help give them the amount of information that they need to succeed. We look at the Mets' rotation last year. From a name value standpoint, it was not that good, but from within the second half, it was one of the best again in baseball with the way that they performed. So I don't ever really have like a ton of like consistent confidence in the bullpen, because I feel like it goes in waves much more for the bullpen than it would be for the starting rotation. But with the amount of time that we've seen them pitching particularly well from guys that we're not expecting to pitch as well as they have, I have more confidence myself in the starting rotation, especially with also getting some guys back from injuries as well.
Okay, you know what time it is. Let's get to the Juan Soto situation.
Who's that? I don't know who you're talking
who's about. Who's that? All right, you know what? I maybe you don't want me to ask you this. You might have to give me a political answer. But first, because I texted you immediately after this happened.
Yeah.
This is is this a month ago now? Yeah, it's a month ago or so. Juan Soto getting a standing ovation from Mets fans. I know all too well about this, Matt, here in Philadelphia. I saw it happen with Trey Turner 2 years ago. I'm not going to necessarily say that I loved it. It happened, and I'm glad that Trey was incredible the rest of that year. I think it's a little soft, to be honest, and that's not a shot at other Phils fans. I love Phils fans, but well, I don't know. What were your thoughts on the ovation that happened a month ago?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly what I said to you when we were texting back and forth about it. I mean, I think it was something like, it was it was a month ago. So it was like 3 weeks into the season. We weren't even like 20 games in. And I mean, it's like Mets fans have never been in this position before, essentially, when it comes to Juan Soto. Like, especially like getting the star player, the richest contract in like North American sports history, or definitely Major League history, but I think it's maybe North American sports too. I don't know about like soccer and stuff, who knows? But and then taking him from the Yankees as well too. Like all those things, like those are all things that we've never really seen before as Mets fans. We're not used to it, and like we want people obviously to get off the ground running, and it's difficult to see the slow start from a number standpoint because he, first at bat spring training, he hits one over the wall. And like, where it's like essentially seeing him do this over and over again. He did it last year with the Yankees too, got off to a hot start. So it's like, if there's not that immediate production, people start to freak out. So, I mean, like, I didn't necessarily like hate the standing ovation. I don't think it should have been as big of a deal as people tried to like make it, like, rally people around. Anyone go to the game, make sure you applaud for him. So of course you should applaud for him. He's a player on your favorite team. So I'm sure it meant something to Soto, like not immediately hearing boos. Like we think of these guys as like robots, but they're humans. Like they're obviously much better at baseball than anyone else in the world. But at the same time, it's like, like this is still their job. They're going to work and they're trying to compartmentalize things and, do a good job. And unlike my job, like if I have a bad day, I don't have 40,000 people like trying to boo me because I'm having a bad day at work. Yeah. So I think it meant something to him. I'm glad like we're done talking about it though, overall.
Yeah. Even though I just brought it back up.
So, yeah.
You know what the shift does? We bring things up, everyone starts talking about it. So I'm sorry.
That's your job, man. It's someone's got to do it, right?
But no. So transitioning to what's happened over the last 5 days now, I guess, or so, or a little longer because we're actually almost to the weekend. But Subway Series, everything that happened, Matt, with Juan Soto refusing to get mic'd up, right before the broadcast starts on Sunday Night Baseball. Even the weekend starting, which I thought was going to be normal, where Soto tips the cap to the Bronx crowd as they're booing him. Everything that's happened now, where he had a horrible series, and it's not doing the Soto shuffle anymore.
Yeah.
Are we overreacting? You're talking about overreacting with the ovation a little bit there. Are we overreacting to what's transpired as of late with Juan Soto?
I mean, this is the New York media, so I feel like they've been overreacting for 2 months now, pretty much. I mean, I think maybe a little bit of it is warranted here and there. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen the shuffle at all. Like, it's such a stupid thing to talk about, but still, it's, it's like part of his DNA almost. It's like everyone talks about it. He did it everywhere else he went. And like, I think he mentioned it, maybe it was to Heyman or something like that. It'll come out when the time is right or something like that. And it just seems like he's still trying to get comfortable. And this is going to be ridiculous how I say it, but thinking about all the things that's happening to him, like the body language, people talking about the lack of hustle, yada, 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 all that stuff. Like I try and like put myself in that situation. Obviously it's I don't have no idea what he's like thinking about, but when I played in high school and in college, I would think about, all right, we're winning, but I'm not really playing the way that I know that I can play. Like, how does that make me feel? I'm happy that we're winning, but overall I'm frustrated that I'm not getting going and helping add to the bottom line. So I think that's part of it. Like if he came out and was hitting 350, I feel like there'd be a lot more like outward energy there. And we don't, we don't know what else is going on behind the scenes. He's still getting acclimated to being a Met, and he's been in New York for, this is his second year, but being a Met is different than being a Yankee. And he's got all the added expectation of the huge contract and stuff. And, we've seen this story multiple times. People booed Piazza before he signed that extension because he couldn't hit in the clutch. And then then like the next day he hit in the clutch and then they cheered him. And then, Beltran's tough year in 05, and then he had a huge year in 06. Lindor, same thing in 2021 and then 2022 and beyond. So I'm not trying to make excuses or say that he's just going to have a bad year for his standards. We don't know, but it's still, I think Piazza talked about it with the Post the other day. Like this is kind of like a rite of passage. You just kind of try and figure it out. And once something clicks, all you need is one at bat, one swing, or one hit for things to like actually click and go on a hot streak. So I can understand maybe why like he's not as enthusiastic as maybe some people would think he should be. Probably because he's not hitting the way he wants to hit. He loves hitting. It's like his thing. It's not like he's a Gold Glover. This is the thing that he does the best. It's what he's most known for. So like when he's not doing the things that he feels like he should be doing, yeah, like happy that we're still winning, but I want to contribute to it as well too. Because at some point things are going to stop, they're going to scuffle a little bit, and then they're going to turn to him because he's right in the middle of that lineup. And as like things are happening right now, the last couple of weeks, Lindor, him, and Alonso aren't hitting the way that they were hitting earlier in the year. At least Lindor and Alonso kind of a little bit are scuffling a little bit, and it's impacting the offense, obviously, because that's the way that it is. It's 162 game season, so it's tough to ride those ups and downs and to freak out about it all the time. But like it's still the middle of May. I mean, we're getting towards the end of May, right. But with him not hitting the way that people are expecting him to hit, the Mets are still 1.5 games out of first place, 10 games over 500. Like this is fine. Everything is fine as it is, and we can't fault him for being human because things happen in different ways for different people in different situations. So, I mean, I have faith that it will eventually be fine, but I mean, this is kind of like what he signed up for. He signed the biggest contract ever in history, and he's in New York, and he knew that. So it's just, he's probably just tired of answering the same questions over and over again.
Which he did say he was. Well, that's why he didn't do the Sunday Night Baseball thing. Yeah,
and like backing out of that, it's like, okay, like it's a little like not cool.
It's a bad PR move.
Yeah, it doesn't help the optics already. He's having like a tough time as it is already. He probably just should have said no thanks from the get-go because what they're going to ask you about. But yeah, so like that's my stance on Soto. I mean, I think he's overall fine. I don't think he hates being a Met. I don't think he wishes he was still a Yankee, because if he really wished he was
he would have gone.
He would have been a Yankee. And like I saw some report saying how like his family essentially told him he was signing with the Mets because they felt more comfortable with the Cohens. And it's like maybe I'm sure they had some kind of sway, but like come on.
Yeah.
He's the one playing. He's the one signing the contract. You really don't think you think they're going to tell him to do something and he's just going to be like, okay, fine. I guess I'll just do it and suffer for at least 5 years until I can opt out, or even worse, 15 years if they tell me I can't opt out. It's like, I don't know the family dynamic. Obviously, I'm just speculating here, but that feels ridiculous to me. It's like, yes, family is important and their opinion is important because they're going to be there with you. But like, come on, like he made the decision and he was happy in spring training. He was laughing in the dugout and like having a good time. You can't tell me that once just the regular season started, he's like, oh, this sucks now. It's like, no, I don't think so.
So you don't believe Walker Buehler's quote that he said that he told Lindor, though he got pissed off because he told Lindor that Soto's actually happier. He wishes he was a Yankee still. You didn't see that?
I did not see that.
I'm just kidding. It was a fake quote from the New York Porch Sports or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I didn't see the quote.
I'll send it to you after the show. Yeah. I looked. It was hilarious. So you would appreciate it. It was funny. Real quick, one more thing on the Soto thing. So you don't think the reports that he's like not enthused playing in New York is any concern to you? Wasn't that an ESPN report that the front office or the hierarchy they're concerned with his lack of enthusiasm as being a Met?
Oh yeah, I did see that report. I mean, who knows how these things kind of leak and where these sources come from and stuff like that. And again, I'm not trying to be like this is like a nothing report, because maybe his enthusiasm is a little bit down because he's not hitting the way he feels like he should be hitting,
Right.
or playing the way he should be playing. So I think like everything's in a vacuum. Like maybe he's not in the best mood right now. When I wasn't hitting, I wasn't in the best mood either. So like like those things will weigh on you, especially when you have these gigantic expectations where people are expecting you to succeed every single night in a game of failure, essentially. So but yeah, I mean, like it was just, the free agency period was such a whirlwind for him. And like, obviously, like he would say, like the Yankees were in front, but they couldn't get it done. And then I feel like the other day he said that Boston was near the top of his list too, and stuff like that. It's like, he just needs to stop talking about it. But it's hard when you get asked the question.
Yeah.
If you say, I don't want to talk about it, then you look like a jerk as well too. So, and I think it seems like, I don't know Juan Soto, I've never met him. It seems like he's just a generally nice guy. So like if he gets asked the question, he's going to answer the question. So it's not like he's going to pull like a Barry Bonds and be a jerk to the media or something like that, But yeah, I mean, if the front office is a little concerned, I mean, I would probably be concerned too, because you want to make sure your star player is happy at the end of the day. It's not necessarily like, oh, is he regretting his decision? That's what everyone jumps to that conclusion. Like, is he regretting being a Met? It's like, no, like it's probably something a lot smaller than
14
everyone's
and a
trying to
half
make
more
it.
years, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like let's hope things turn around so we don't have to talk about this for 14 years.
Well, hey, look, to be fair here too, we've been saying the same thing about Bryce here in Philly. The first month and a half, he's been hot since he shaved his head. But same thing with Bryce. Like, oh, he doesn't look enthused. Doesn't look like he wants to play baseball right now. Well, he wasn't up to Bryce Harper standards, and I don't think Juan Soto is necessarily up to Juan Soto standards right now. One more Met thing before we switch to just general Major League Baseball. What are the chances? I mean, look, there was that Jim Bowden report on Pete Alonso that I think it was that it's a likely chance that, considering the type of year that Pete's having, that he'll probably opt out with the club option. What are the chances? I mean, what are your thoughts on Pete so far this year? He's been incredible. What are the chances the Mets lose him in free agency? And if he does go to free agency, that they could still bring him back?
Yeah, I mean, if I was having the year that Pete's having, and if it keeps going, yeah, I would opt out too. Why not? He's going to be a dad. He wants to get that long-term contract. He wants to like settle down a little bit. Like from a human standpoint, I get that. And obviously Scott Boras is his agent. He wants to get him the most money possible. So like, this is what Boras does. The same thing with Bregman too. He's having a great year in Boston. Like he's probably going to opt out so he can maximize off of the good year he's having. So yeah, him going back, declining the option and opting for free agency. Yeah, I feel like it's a very likely possibility. I feel as if the chances of him going back to the Mets are probably still very good. We all know how much Alonso loves being a Met, and what New York just in general means to him. So I mean, if he has a great year, I think that's what part of the problem was this past year. Like it's not like he had a bad year, and he still hit like 30 plus homers and like 88 RBI or something like that. But like he didn't have the type of year that would necessitate forcing teams to actually pay top of the market price for him, especially after that like first base musical chairs happened in like December or something like that. Like a bunch of teams got a new first baseman, and then all the options pretty much dwindled to like the Mets and maybe one or two other teams. But I think it was like was it last year? I think it was going into 2024. Cohen was quoted saying like, I hope Pete has a great year. I hope he hits 50 plus home runs, and I have to pay him. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. Like if Pete has a great year and they feel like he's the best option to keep around, and Pete's like, I would say probably the heart and soul of that offense, essentially. Like we see how much more dynamic they are with him hitting in the middle of it the way he's been hitting. I don't see a problem with them paying what they need to pay him to bring him back within some kind of reason, I'm sure. And I feel like Alonso will probably take a little bit less to stay with the Mets, because I feel like he enjoys being a Met and the idea of being a Met for life that much.
Okay. Well, also Jim Bowden put in his report that he would be a great fit for the Phillies. Bryce can move to the outfield.
Well, of course, I didn't Bryce like make some kind of push
did,
to like
right?
he said he would move back to the outfield for Alonso,
yeah, he
right?
said that. Yeah, he did say that. And I think it's also a play on him trying to get another extension. So
Yeah.
he's just trying to do good things for himself. It's all selfish game, Matt. It's all selfish game. All right,
Yeah.
I want to transition to a little Major League Baseball, just in general. This happened about, I think it was 10 days ago now, but it's, kind of for me a little weird timing, but not surprising in the same sense that Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball come out and they lift the ban on Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and other deceased former players and others, and make them eligible for the Hall of Fame. I want to know your thoughts on what happened, and do you think that Pete and Shoeless Joe should be in the Hall of Fame?
I agree with you that the timing was weird. It kind of just came out of nowhere with this like special statement from Manfred. But I mean, I think the move in general makes sense. Obviously, like the punishment has been served. You get a lifetime ban. It's for your lifetime. Now you're no longer alive, and now you can, if you have this conversation of potentially being in the Hall of Fame, like you can leave it up to the Veterans Committee, which is just as strict or probably more strict, I feel like, than the Writers Association, allowing other people to make this decision for you. With regard to these two guys in particular, with Shoeless Joe, I mean, I think it's really interesting just because when you look at the Black Sox scandal, you look at his performance during that World Series, he was not throwing the World Series, obviously. I don't know all the specifics of the story, how involved or not involved he was, but when it comes down to play on the field, he was not. He obviously was doing what he could to try and win the game. So I think this is long overdue for him. I feel like he should get in eventually. With Pete Rose, it's well, I don't want to say complicated situation. There are a lot of layers to it, though. Like, obviously, is the betting on the baseball and denying it for years and years, and only coming out and actually admitting it because he had like a book coming out.
Yep.
And so he wanted to, make some money off of that. Which, to each their own. It's finally deciding to do it. And then all the other, let's say, extracurricular activities that have come out about him with his off the field life. And, a lot of people will argue and probably disagree with me and say like, oh, like, but, we're just talking about like on the fields. Like, no, like the Hall of Fame has a morality clause. It's like, it's literally in there. And like and yes, there are terrible people in the Hall of Fame from like an off the field standpoint. Like people will point to like Ty Cobb and be like, he was a terrible human being. Like, yeah, I mean, it kind of sounded like he was. But like, we can't take people out of the Hall of Fame. Like, well, I mean, right. I guess it'd be probably really hard to do that. But so I'm not saying that there are no bad people in the Hall of Fame or people who have had major transgressions in the Hall of Fame. But, I mean, it's 2025 now, and the other things matter. So I don't think he should be in. I don't think he's going to get in either. I think it'll be really difficult to get buy-in from everyone, like from the required amount of voters he needs from the Veterans Committee. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think they can. When's the Veterans Committee meet again? I think it's like 2027 or something like that, right?
I think it's 28. That's when he would be eligible. They would be eligible. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get to ruminate on this for another 2-3 years, essentially. Yep. So, but yeah. So I think Shoeless Joe should get in. I don't think Pete Rose should get in as the TLDR version of it.
Okay. All right. That's all right. Interesting. Now let's get to MLB Daily Dingers, which is. Wait, you didn't like the way I emphasized that?
No, that was good. I should record you, or I'll just clip this part of the recording.
Yeah, do you need that for the website? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Every time someone reloads it, that would be good.
But all right, so talk about the website. I want to know, talk about this home run tracker. One thing I want to know is, why have you only picked specific players. So you have a Pete Alonso home run tracker. You have a Vladdy Jr. home run tracker. You have a Ohtani, a Judge. Of course, you got to have those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the Bryce? Where's the Schwarber? Where's the Castellanos? You know,
no, I mean, look, I love Cassie. No Cassie though. We don't need that one.
I know. And in all seriousness, so talk to me about the home run trackers for these guys and what can people look at on the website as regards to those things.
Yeah, so I mean, the kind of branching out the content overall on the site, kind of just like expanding a little bit beyond just home run specific stuff. Talking about some baseball card things, some youth baseball type stuff, like equipment things and things like that. But obviously, like the core of the website is home run related content, still producing that kind of stuff. And one of the ways that I like to kind of follow along throughout each year is these home run trackers, these individual home run trackers. So part of the reason why there aren't a ton of them is because they are manual. I do them myself every time someone hits a homer.
Right.
So I'll go and get the data, get the video and upload it and things like that. I will say, I mean, I have had Bryce and Schwarber in past seasons. And I've been toying with every time they hit a homer, I'm like, should I just do one for them?
So you got to do one for Schwarber because he's going to get the 500 eventually.
Well,
in a Phillies uniform.
What you hope? I mean, isn't he a free agent at the end of this year?
Trust me, I am.
He might be a Met, man. Who knows?
Well, swap out Schwarber for Alonso.
No, put him in DH.
What you're saying? Put Alonso at DH?
No, put Schwarber at DH. Wait, you think
Schwarber's already DH?
Yeah, he can play. He can.
Well, you're saying Schwarber's going to be a Met, though. That's what you said.
Yeah.
So I'm saying we swap out. That's all I was saying.
Oh no, we'll keep both of them.
Oh right, yeah. Well, they still won't have a World Series. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, like, you know, with these individual trackers, it's essentially, you know, you'll see the date of each home run, a video of it, the distance, and exit velocity. So I kind of center around like a handful of people where, you know, I feel like will create the most buzz and, you know, really just get the most traffic to the site essentially. So Bryce and Schwarber do that as well too, which is, you know, I feel like last year I went way off the deep end with it, where I was like updating a bunch every single day, and I was like, this is a little too much. I got to like centralize things a little bit. So which is why I don't have as many this year, but I'm always open to suggestions. If people want to see trackers, you know, I mean, hit me up on the site, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, and, you know, everywhere else. MLB Daily Dingers is. I'm always happy to take requests if people want to see a certain tracker, and, you know, it doesn't take me very long to whip it up and get it on the site.
Awesome. Anything that the readers, subscribers, you know, on Twitter, Instagram, the website, anything like new that we can expect in the future? You know, you're talking about adding the home run trackers here. We've had a lot of you know, great stuff on the site. Anything new that people can look forward to just in general on the site?
Well, I mean, I've been toying around with doing a little bit more stuff on Instagram, getting a little bit more interactive. I mean, essentially, like the staple of this entire idea is just sharing home runs every day. And during the season, it's on this date in home run history, essentially. During the off season, you get a little bit of my stream of consciousness of players who I'm thinking about at any given time throughout the off season. But yeah, just thinking about, you know, bringing some, you know, more interactive and like not necessarily like polls, but just, you know, shining a light on random huge seasons and things like that. And, you know, one of the things that I enjoy about the project is being able to talk about like Bonds and A-Rod and Griffey and all those guys that we know and love to watch.
Right.
But then thinking about, you know, people who you don't necessarily think about very often, like, you know, thinking about Bill Hall's 2006 season, you know, like stuff like that. So being able to kind of shine a light on players who maybe you haven't thought about in like 10 or 15 years. So that's probably like the biggest new thing that's coming down the pike. And newsletter subscribers will they typically get 3 emails from me a week. One on Monday is just a rundown of what I'm going to be sharing for the week on social media. And then the other 2 are just specific player spotlights. So like a couple weeks ago, did something on Edwin Encarnacion's late career power surge. Same thing with Nelson Cruz. Talked about Alfonso Soriano knocking on the 40-40 door 3 times before finally knocking it down. So kind of, bringing up interesting observations, or, looking at the data, the stats in a different way than just you would, just by looking at Fangraphs and Baseball Reference and things like that. So, yeah, so that's what's really going on these days.
Okay. Well, so, I mean, when are we going to expect you on TikTok?
I don't know, man.
Oh, come on, man. You
I don't
the
think so.
youngins.
I'm not young, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, hey, man, I'm on TikTok. I'm just sitting there waiting. I'm just like, man, when am I going to get a Daily Dinger scroll? Right? I'm telling you, man, the algorithms are good. That's all I pitched it to you before. Not that I'm a big TikTok guy. Earnshaw is the TikTok guy. He's like 12 years old. He's on TikTok all day long. That's what he does. So
doing the dances and stuff, right?
Exactly. We'll be dancing to Daily Dingers.
Yeah.
It'll be you could call the username that for TikTok. It could be Dancing Daily Dingers.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
See? Or you could do dances to the Dingers.
That will not be happening. I can guarantee that.
You can do Alonso's home run tracker, and each home run you do a different dance. I'm giving you bits to do.
I mean, you're like my idea man here, so I'll have to take it into consideration with the board.
All right, Matt, this has been great. Always appreciate you hopping on the show. And where can they find you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's just at MLB Daily Dingers. Also, MLB Daily Dingers on Substack, and then the website is MLBDailyDingers.com. A lot of consistency there. So
there it is. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. And that was Matt Musico for episode 87 of The Shift. We really appreciate everybody tuning in, and especially Matt for being our latest guest on the show. Make sure you stay tuned. We will be live from Fenway Park, June 11th, June 12th. We actually haven't set the date yet. It's either 11th or the 12th. We're going to pick the date. So it's going to happen, but make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you guys soon.